Okay, folks, Coach Patrick here. Finally, I like the Ironman I just did, the longest podcast ever, part 3, third installment of Ironman Arizona 2019 report, where I was fortunate enough to get first age group and earn another spot back to Kona. And in this installment, I've already talked about in part 1 about my season and the importance of building a proper season. In part 2, I talked about why we peak, the importance of peaking in a season relative to your race performance, and then also walked you through the different elements of my day and all the pieces of the puzzle there. And in this third and final installment, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about lessons learned. I know what you're thinking. This is my 30th Ironman. Clearly I'm as old as Methuselah, and you're saying to yourself, how on earth could this guy still be learning stuff? He must be an idiot for not learning anything ever before. And truth is, well, yes, of course I make dumb mistakes all the time. Life isn't interesting if you don't make dumb mistakes. But more importantly, I'm always trying something different. Every race I try and find something different to try, and therefore I've got new things to learn. And there was a lot to learn this time around for me out of this race. Let's talk specifically in different chunks, and I'll start off with the fitness side of things. So things that I learned from my training relative to race day. So I learned that my swim training was actually really great. I really did enjoy the extra time in the water and the time in the lava pants. But that swim seating is critical. And then if I want to be fast, I've got to make sure that I'm putting myself in a faster area to swim faster. It's possible that strategically I was better off not being right at the front of the race. I wasn't in a foot race at the end with the person who was just behind me on the clock, but ahead of me on the course due to the seating of the swim. Overall, I just need to be in a better spot if I want to swim faster. That's just that. Another thing I learned is that I'm a really bad judge of where I am on the course, on the bike at any given time. And I really just need to get my head out of that game. I need to focus on what I can control, which is my wattage. I have to have faith that my watts will deliver me from point A to point B in the time that I'm supposed to be there, at the heart rate I'm supposed to be there at, etc., and let the other things just go. Because I really just got inside my own head. That was really important. I learned also on the run side of things from a macro perspective that I can run well in an Ironman, and that a huge part of it is doing a better job of managing those aid stations and setting better conditions for success by taking the stop out of aid stations and inserting the stop somewhere else where you don't want to stop. Like, who wants to stop here on this bridge in the middle of nowhere? Well, that's my place to stop, so I'm just going to do it real fast and then get the heck out of there, right? So changing the game a little bit from a mental expectation side and freeing up opportunities for me to be faster, to unlock the speed that I developed in my training, I felt like that was really important as well. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some other key lessons learned from the day. So easy to look back at the things that went wrong, and to cover a few of those things logistically, I can go through this for you. Number 1, definitely bringing some toilet paper with me to transition in the morning, because that was a nightmare waiting in lines forever. Number 2, I would say on the swim, making sure that I'm seated early enough to get in the spot that I want. That's a no-brainer. On the bike side of things, I felt good about my fit. I had made some changes coming out of Kona just to make sure that I was a little less, drop my seat just a smidge, just to feel a little bit more comfortable overall. Give myself some real estate there to move around with. I did learn that I've got to change my hydration plan for when it's colder, because I was just peeing nonstop. I've got to find a way to get used to that or something else. But I was fortunate that with Arizona's a bit of a tailwind, so I could coast a couple times and take care of business. But I think overall that could be really, really challenging. And so cold weather, hydration, fluid was really a problem for me. I did learn that I can't stay on the aero bars for an extended period of time on my bike fit, and I'm super pleased with that and with my Ventum, so that's all good. Very happy with that. In terms of the run side of things, I carried nutrition with me on the run because I wasn't going to be using my fuel belt. I put it on my race belt. Lesson learned there is that race belt with food in it moves all over, and I got super seriously chafed around my midsection, which was awful considering I only ate basically one sleeve of Cliff Blocks out of that whole thing and just carried the other stuff with me all day, which is a bit excessive. I didn't really need all of that. And so I can do a better job of managing what I'm carrying, which I think also, again, as you get tired, the less you have to carry, the less your shoes weigh, just the faster you'll be overall. So I've got room to grow on the nutrition side in terms of the execution piece there. Some other key lessons learned that came out for me just leading into the race itself was being able to discern some technology stuff for the geeky people. I didn't realize that when you put your stuff into best bike split, which yields based off of your your bike and your weight and your power. You can create some models for your performance across the course by importing the course data and then getting the weather to come in as well. It's kind of a neat setup. I've been using it for years, but what I didn't realize was one of the things you can do is, modify that course a little bit. So put it all in, get your race done, right? And then you can click modify that, and it'll pull up another version where you can basically use a slider. You can say, make myself lighter or heavier, or more importantly, you can use a slider around the effort. And you can say, what if I rode 5 watts harder, or 10 watts harder, or I rode 5 watts less? And you can see the data change in terms of your resultant time right there on Best Bike Fit. So while I was targeting this 280, and I was like, well, what happens if I rode 300? Obviously, I'll be faster. It's more watts. But when you went in there and actually took the slider and moved it, I wasn't materially faster at all. And that was fascinating to me to be able to see that, because I didn't realize from a permutation perspective that you could actually run a simulation and be like, is this or is this not worth it? I think we always assume, myself included, that more watts would mean more speed. Not necessarily the case. That was huge. I was also able to use Best Bike Fit to see what the corresponding return trip, tailwind, downhill section of Arizona will be as well, and to see that actually some watts do matter, and that I didn't want to just shut it down. Sure, I could go 40 watts less and lose 3 miles an hour, but if I just held those 40 watts or held 30 of those 40 watts, I'd be 3 miles an hour faster than old Patrick would have been. So to me, that was a big lesson learned as well in terms of the value of that portion of the course. I will say that was a big sort of general lesson learned for me. What are some other lessons learned that I had out of the day? I kind of sat down and made a list. I went with a good friend and teammate, Rich Stambaugh, and that guy is a treasure trove of information. He's got all the tools, all the stuff. So I've got a list of tools that I want to bring with me next time, little gadgets, tricks, and things like that. And I think that are super important. I did a better job, and some of you have seen the video of packing my transition bags, actually packing them and putting the list on them and then putting stuff in them according to the list, so I knew it was done. I could check it off. So I traveled with my bags to race site, which made my life so much easier for the race, which was really, really helpful. Let's see, staying downtown Arizona is the bomb because you can easily walk there. Traffic was super bad this year, and people who stayed across the river or further away really struggled to get in and out of the race venue, and to just do things logistically on time, which I think makes a big difference. I definitely overate on Saturday, the day before the race. One of the reasons why I think I ran into some bathroom troubles on race morning. I don't think I needed as big of a dinner as I ate. Eyes were much bigger than I probably needed, and so went a little crazy town with that. So I definitely would change that for sure. That's an easy win for me. I think the bigger lessons learned for me overall, again, is regain confidence, not only in my bike prowess, but on the run side of things as well. I see that the run work I did was helpful, but I've got more. I think I can do more there. And I'm looking forward to being able to challenge myself with a little more specific workouts on the run for sure. But ultimately, I think, as I aim to get lower and lower and closer to that 9-hour mark, I'm going to have to crack the code on that swim and get myself in that 1 hour or better swim space. It'll put me in a better zip code on the bike, a better zip code on the run, and put me in a much better position to be successful. At the end of the day, I think I left a couple minutes on the swim. I don't feel like I left anything on the bike, maybe just some traffic related issues. And then a few spots on the run, I had to stop a couple times to use the bathroom or later in the day, which, I really feel like I had no choice, but I did a good job getting back at it. Was really helpful. That's another reminder for me, just to pass that on for you from a compete standpoint. Having someone else out there on the race course that you can stalk, I think is really helpful. I like to play a game where I'll pick someone and I'll try and chase that person down. The key is, right, you get to pick them. So don't pick someone who's moving like a rocket ship, right? But pick someone who's moving at your speed or just slightly slower or whatever, and be like, I'm gonna follow that person. Or if they pass you, be like, I'm not gonna let that person go. Not that I'm gonna chase them right now, like a piece of elastic between you, but keep an eye on them, right? So I remember on second lap, about mile 18, surprise, I had a taller gentleman go by me very quickly. And I don't know where he was in the race or what age group he is, etc. But he was flying. And in short order, he had put, a quarter mile on me going across this bridge, the little turnaround piece, and then going across the bridge. And if I hadn't been paying attention to him, I would have said, oh my God, this is it. The tide's turning. People are going to start passing me now. I know I'm slowing down. I'm not running as fast as I was before, but since I'm not looking at my watch, I don't know by how much. Note to self, look at your damn watch. But by keeping an eye on him, I could see that by the time he got across that bridge, he was walking again. So he ran fast, but his race ended at mile 18. He couldn't do any more. He had 8 more miles to go. He was done at mile 18. And I took a lot of strength out of that and then refocused on my target guy that I was following before. But he was a good interim bridge for me to kind of stay aware. So while I don't necessarily pay attention to my watch or my splits or the time of day, on the run I am insanely focused on the competition and who I can use around me as a carrot, as a target, to just make all of these smaller things happen. I want to pass this tree. I want to pass that aid station. On the second time through the course, when I hit that turnaround, I've only got 4 miles to go. All that sort of smaller incremental milestones you set for yourself are really, really helpful. On a macro perspective, I definitely believe that one of the things I did very well for this second race of the year and the last race of the year was the taper, and that I can rest more during taper week and I'll do much better overall. I think I've been setting too high of a bar and I've been too worried about acclimating to heat or getting stuff done. And I think all of that race week training stuff has definitely been an issue. When I travel with my family, we're doing so much family stuff. I don't have as much time to train, and I think it's actually really beneficial. So shout out to my family. They should be there because it'll definitely make me make better decisions for sure. I think that's predominantly it. We always get good lessons learned from the team as well, but more importantly, really thinking for yourself what these lessons learned are, and then writing them down. I've got a list of things to change. I've already done it. In fact, I've already bought through Amazon and the interwebs a bunch of the stuff already for next year because I just saw I needed painter's tape. It needs to go in my toolkit to mark stuff. I bought it. It's in the toolkit already, right? I needed a torque wrench. I bought it. It's in the toolkit already. All those pieces are already done, so I don't have to think about it or next year be like, oh, what did I do wrong? I can do it now. Like next year, I've got notes already for the taper, so when I get to taper time, I can pull out my notes and say, this is what we do because this worked, right? To me, that iterative learning process is super duper important, and we count on it as your teammates here inside Endurance Nation, that you can learn from events either from our advice or something you try on your own, and that you share it back so that we too can benefit from it and make much smarter decisions overall and eliminate all those down periods of racing and all the mistakes that we typically make, so we can have a better experience overall and get better, faster, stronger, sooner than we would have otherwise, which I think is the ultimate goal of Endurance Nation. So I hope you really enjoyed this podcast series and it was really helpful to you. If you've raced this year, whether it was at Ironman Arizona or elsewhere, congratulations to you. I hope this has given you some guidance to the things you want to think about as you not only process your race in terms of the build-up, the race itself, and the lessons learned, but gives you a sense of how I, at the more pointy end of the general age group population, think a little bit about racing and try and use that as a lever to improve from year to year. And I use all these lessons to inform my training for next year, all the tweaks and changes that I want to make. And the most important thing you can do is take the time like I've done here to reflect on what happened and then to capture some of those lessons down so the next time you go through it, you've got your own words, you've got your own numbers to work from. Reading magazines and getting articles online is super neat, sexy, and there's always someone better looking than you out there. Hard to believe it, I know, but someone is more better looking than you. I can't believe I just said more better. Wherever you are on the internet, punch me in the face right now. Pow. I totally deserve that. Okay, so someone is better looking than you, but more importantly, is that you can take that information and use it to be better next year. So maybe 20 miles a week is too much. Not swimming until July is insufficient relative to your goals. You'll never do that trip again. You'll never ship your bike this way again. You'll never use that transport system again. You won't ever forget your sunglasses again. You'll bring hand sanitizer for anyone who touches your bike after peeing it in a cold weather race. Whatever it may be, all those things you want to capture, all that stuff so we can be better, smarter, and faster overall. That's the fun part of the game. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you are interested in training and capturing some of your personal best experience, not only with the team, but with our training plans and resources, don't hesitate. Head over to our website at endurancestation.us. You can read a bunch of case studies for people just like you and see how they've used Endurance Nation to become successful. You can explore our free resource area. There's tons of content there once you enter your email. Or you can sign up for the team. We got a 30-day money-back guarantee. And for right now, depends on when you listen to this, but this time of year at the end of 2019, we are waiving our $100 setup fee to get you inside the door, eliminating all excuses and getting you ready for your races, whether they start in January of next year with something crazy, goofy, or daffy, or moving all the way to the end of next year because you're going back to Arizona or Aloha Man, and you want to take on something incredible and epic and unbelievable. We're there to support you, and we can't wait to hear from you. Thanks so much, folks. I'll see you guys online or at the races.